Hi, this is Dave with High Gravity. Today we're going to look at the EBC-330. This controller is designed for a 3-vessel Herms system. It features independent control of the mash temperature and the hot liquor tank temperature. It's a unique design where the mash temperature is maintained with this controller by controlling pump 1. When the temperature reaches the set point, it turns off pump 1 and will turn on again when it drops below. The hot liquor tank temperature is maintained independently by controlling the heat, and this controller requires a 30 amp circuit just like your clothes dryer. To set the temperature of the hot liquor tank, you want to be in mash mode. The modes can be selected after momentarily depressing the knob. You'll have a menu with mash or boil. In mash mode, the temperature control is automatic. To make a change, you simply select whatever value you would like and then bump the knob to save the change. The actual temperature is displayed at the top and the set point below. When it is trying to raise the temperature, when the heat is on, you'll see this output indicator lit. The same is true with this side. On the mash side, you're going to see this output indicator lit right here when it's trying to raise the temperature. In this case, it's measuring 77.5 degrees and it's set to 155, so this is on solid. It's trying to make the temperature warmer. So we're making the assumption that you have a heat exchanger in the hot liquor tank and the valves are open, and so that when this pump comes on, it will recirculate the wort through that heat exchanger and pick up the heat. To change the mash temperature, you momentarily bump either the up or the down arrow, and for a few seconds after you do that, you'll see the blinking light in the lower right corner. That means that it's in change mode, and you can then select the new value and then just leave it alone and it'll be the new value. That's pretty much all the buttons you'll have to touch on this side. There are many ways you can use this controller. Just about every other design that we know of for a Herms system continuously recirculates, and the mash temperature is dependent on the hot liquor tank temp. You can operate like that with this controller. You effectively have manual control of the pump 1 just by making sure that the set point is higher than the measured value, and you effectively then have control of the pump with the switch with a momentary delay like that. Pump 2 is used whenever you're going to use 2 pumps at the same time, and that would be if you had 3 vessels on one level. During the sparge, you would be pumping from the hot liquor tank to the mash tun, and from the mash tun to the kettle. This controller has one heat output that is shared by the hot liquor tank and the kettle, and only one is used at a time. So at the end of the mash, you would unplug the hot liquor tank and plug the kettle in, and then you would switch the mode from mash to boil, and then hit that again. In this mode, you're selecting a percentage of power from 0 to 100%, and you would simply just maybe run it up to 100% until you reach a boil, and then dial it back as it gets close to something perhaps around 70%. Note that in the boil mode, the change is immediate. It's not necessary to bump the knob to save the change. It's immediate, like so. This controller is fully overload protected. It's got a 30 amp main breaker on this side and a 10 amp breaker for the 120 volt subsystem. If an overload condition exists, the breakers will pop and prevent any further damage. This controller is available with a variety of options. You can choose the cord length and plug type for the power supply, and you can also choose whichever temperature probe you would like from a variety of styles, depending on how you'd like to install them, either in the vessel or in line outside of the vessel. They're kind of tri-clamp, weldless, NPT style. And you can also choose longer probe cables. The standard length is 8 feet, And you can choose 12 feet cables if necessary. If you have a problem with your temperature probe or a cable and the temperature controller cannot see the probe, you'll see an error message displayed like this. You're not going to get any heat until you fix the problem. It could be a broken wire in the cable. We ship the controller with some of the advanced features disabled. This is so that the controller is most intuitive to use right out of the box. With timer functions disabled, the only menu choices displayed when you push the knob momentarily are boil and mash. If you have the timer enabled, you're going to see a timer reset menu as well. Timer functions are enabled or disabled with the TF parameter, and they're located in the system menu. To go to the system menu, we need to be in mash or boil mode and then push the button for 5 seconds. Once it's been pushed for 5 seconds, we've got to go to mash, go to boil, or go to system. These are the parameters that will affect control of the system. Under system, we have TF. It's currently set to off. That's timer function. We can turn the timer on and save our change. This is the timer counting direction, currently set to down. You could change that to up. And we'll get through the rest of these. There. So with the timer enabled, you'll see the menu choice will display now when we're going in. This is it. It's the timer reset. Before it displays mash or boil, it's asking whether you want to reset the timer or not. You can hit the button again if you hit that by mistake. We'll go back and turn the knob, brings up the other choices, mash, boil, or reset the timer. The timer can be general purpose, or it can be used to control mash and boil functions. With the timer enabled, you'll want to visit these timer parameters that are under the boil and the mash section. So we'll go to the mash section here, and you'll see that the initial value is set to 1 hour. This is the mash time, and when the timer is reset, it'll start with another hour on the clock and count down. TSP is the timer start temperature. That means once the temperature reaches 151, the timer is going to start. That's your mash timer. ALH is the alarm set temp. It's set to 150, so when the temperature reaches 150, you get a little beep to tell you you've reached your target mash temp. The EO is the ending option. It is set to off, so at the end of the timer, if it's enabled, the heat will turn off once 1 hour has counted down. With the timer enabled, there's also some parameters associated with the boil. Let's go to the boil parameters menu. And let's go a couple more times. That's it. That's your boil time. The default is 1 hour. It will count down once the boil has started, and the boil temperature set point is 208. So once the temperature reaches 208, the boil timer will start and it will count down from 1 hour.